morning. Welcome to Office Chair Yoga. My name is Lee Campbell, and today we're going to focus on the pelvis. So I brought my bowl because thinking about the pelvis really makes me think about a bowl. So think about the rim of the bowl equating to the rim of your pelvis. So your pelvis is really what you put your hands on when you put your hands on your hips. It starts back here at the iliac crest, and then it comes around so you can actually follow it. And then pretend like you're putting your hands in some pockets or imaginary pockets, and find two hip points is what we often refer to them as. This is your anterior superior iliac spine, so your ASIS. And we can use these hip points to really help us find a neutral position of our pelvis. And what does that mean? A neutral pelvis means that the rim of the pelvis is not tilted either forward, which is a sway back, or too far the other way, which is like a posterior tilt. What we want is the rim of the pelvis to be level, so a neutral pelvis. So we can do that by providing ourselves feedback, finding those hip points, and reminding ourselves to pull back the bowl of the pelvis, because honestly, most of us have an anterior tilted pelvis, so most of us have it tilted down because we sit all day long and our hip flexors get really tight. So when we're sitting and we come up to standing, we can't quite get the hip flexors in a position that they're happy in because they've been so tight and bound down. And so it pulls the hip points forward, and so we sit with a sway back. So really thinking about pulling back the rim of the pelvis, activating the glutes really helps with that. The pelvis is so important to be neutral because it's the epicenter of the body. So it's really the place where everything becomes organized, and it's in, it connects the floor and your lower extremities really with your spine and your upper extremities. So the base of the spine essentially meets the top of the pelvis via the sacrum. So here's your sacrum. Your spine comes down. It becomes essentially the sacrum, which is part of the pelvis. So it's all connected. This is your sacroiliac joint right here. So this is really where the spine is connecting with the pelvis. So if the pelvis isn't neutral and it's not in an optimal position, your spine is not happy. And that's when you start to have chronic back pain and, just chronic discomfort because your spine isn't happy. So that's a lot on the pelvis, but it's so important. It's the epicenter of movement, really. And you can think about the pelvis being a diamond. So finding those two hip points right here, finding your belly button, and then the base of the pelvis, which is your pubic symphysis. Imagining that as a diamond, and then think about the diamond pulling together and gathering together. And if you think about consolidating that diamond and sort of just visualize that throughout the day, you'll remind yourself to find your neutral pelvis, and then your spine is happy. So grabbing a towel or a hoodie's probably optimal. We're going to go ahead and take the towel or the hoodie and roll it up. So a long cylinder type roll here. And this is going to be kind of like if you think about when you travel and you have those pillows that wrap around your neck. This is very similar to what we're trying to accomplish today with some neck exercises. So I'm just going to put this to the side. And let's find our chair, but really sitting on the edge of our chair. So we're wanting our sit bones, which is really the base of our pelvis, to be grounded in the front part of our chair. Pulling belly to spine. Remember, when you pull belly to spine, you're actually finding a neutral pelvis. So you're pulling up on the rim of the pelvis. Take your feet and allow them to ground into the earth. Free your feet. Take off your socks and your shoes. Allow your feet to be free. Connect to the earth in this way. Thinking about the tall spine, a light head. Breathe in and out through your nose. From here, let's breathe in through our nose, and maybe you even want to close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. As you breathe in through your nose, fill up the cylinder of the core, the front, the back, the side. Fill all the cylinder of the core in the thoracic spine and exhale it out. A cleansing breath. Inhale through your nose, fill up the front, the side, the back, all the way around the cylinder of the thorax. Exhale it out. Great cleansing breath. It helps throughout the day as well. And let's just take that breath in and out through our nose a few times with our eyes closed, if that feels comfortable to you, allowing the shoulder blades to find their pockets on the back of the ribs, finding a neutral pelvis and a happy spine, and just feel the lightness here as you take this moment for yourself. And when you feel comfortable, opening up your eyes and grabbing your rolled up hoodie or your rolled up towel. Take this behind your neck, so right under your hairline. And from here, we're gonna pull on it a little bit, allow a little bit of traction. Remember, pull belly to spine, you want that neutral pelvis and happy spine. And as you pull forward on the towel or the hoodie, send your left ear to your left shoulder. Allow the weight of the head to release some of the right side neck tension that might be there. If you don't have a hoodie, you can take your hand and just rest it. It accomplishes something similar. Taking this moment to just feel how this pose relaxes you, allows some release that might have been built up in your neck throughout the day. Inhale back center. Now take the right ear to the right shoulder as you kind of pull a little bit on that hoodie or towel. Make sure your spine is neutral and happy. You don't want that rounding. You want to be sitting up tall, feeling tall and light as you feel a release on the left side of the neck, allowing the head to really form some traction here from the weight of the head. And inhale back center, and I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me, but let's sitting up tall. So remember, our feet are grounded, our sit bones are at the edge of the chair. Allow your neck to come back, or your head to come back. This is actually neck extension. And allow the occiput, or the base of the head, to sit on that rolled up towel or hoodie. But we want to make sure our ribs don't flare when we come back. We really just want a little bit of cervical extension. So pulling belly to spine and closing the rib cage so it's not flared open. And bring it back to center. One more thing. Take the hoodie and wrap it around the base of, right where the hairline is, so the base of the occiput, like you're making a head wrap. And from here, we're actually going to pull up a little bit. So you're creating like a little hammock for your head, and you're just allowing your head to rest in that hammock as you kind of wrap the hoodie or the towel around your head. You can even bring it to the center and hold it in the center and allow the head to release into it. It feels so good. And pull up a little bit as your head comes back. Feel the lengthening in the back of the neck. You really want some lengthening as you do this. And release. Great work. So you can do that throughout the day. If you want a little neck relaxation, a little neck therapy, great job. From here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on our wrists. So we sit in wrist flexion. And a lot of times in this class we've been working on active wrist extension. But today we're going to work on, passive wrist extension. Today we're going to work on active wrist extension. So that's just flicking your fingers up. Ideally, we would all have this beautiful, almost like a 90-degree angle here when your wrist and fingers come up. In reference to your forearm. I certainly don't, but it gives us something to work for. So it's just something to notice about your body. It's just information. Don't judge it. Just use the information, to improve how you feel throughout the day with these little exercises. From here, let's take the right hand out. So I'm going to turn so you can see me and flare the fingers out so they're fanned here. Now from here, so your arm is out, your elbow is straight. It's not locked, but it's straight. And look at the fingers. And as you're looking at the fingers, let's fan them down. So pinky, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, thumb. You've made a fist. Now bring the fist down. So this is wrist flexion. And from here, let's rotate the wrist, really feeling that in the forearms, and rotate the other side. Great work. From here, you have the fist. So the knuckles are facing down. Now let's open from the thumb fanning out. So thumb, index. This is tougher. Middle, ring finger, pinky finger. So again, not judging it, just noticing how it's different. Let's take it to the other side. So bringing your left hand out with the elbow extended, so not locked, but extended. So you're out like in a partial T position. Look at the fingers, fan the fingers out. Now let's bring the fingers, fanning them in, starting with the pinky. So pinky, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, thumb. Wrap the thumb around so you've made a fist, and allow the knuckles to come down. So this is wrist flexion, but we have the fist position of our hands and our fingers. So maybe you feel a little release, a little stretch, and all the tendons that run down the forearm. Great work. Now let's rotate the wrist, making some circles here, looking at it, getting that visual feedback. Great job. So bringing your wrist back into a neutral position. So your knuckles are facing down. Let's open the hand back up, starting with the thumb, index, middle. Oh, this is tough, ring, and pinky. So again, just noticing it, noticing how that feels a little different. Great job. Let's take it back, wiggling our sit bones to the edge of the chair. We're going to go ahead and work on some shoulder work here. So let's just inhale our shoulders up, exhale down. Inhale, let the weight come down on the exhale. Inhale up and exhale. One more time. Inhale up and exhale. Now alternate shoulder rolls. Remember, when we do this, we're leading with the shoulder blade. So this movement is initiated with those wings that you have on the back, that sit here on the back. And that way, you're incorporating all the tissues around the chest and the rib cage and really releasing them. And take the fingers on top of the shoulders and just alternate. You have a bend at your elbow. Remember to sit tall, so don't forget the rim of the pelvis, and we want to keep it level. And just really rotate back here. This feels amazing. You really can do this throughout the day. If you really kind of get into the motion in the sense that you're leading with your scapula, you'll release a lot of the chest tissue in the area under the scapula, that right next to your rib cage, that needs some attention. Great job. From here, we're going to go ahead and take our left hand up to the sky. We're going to backstroke. So leading with your thumb, take your fingers up to the sky. Look at your fingers. Flip the fingers at the top. Lead with your pinky. So making this an intentional movement. Again, we're making this movement by initiating it from our scapula. Such a nutritious movement that's really quite functional. Great job. Let's do that one more time. Leading with the thumb, flipping at the top, lead with the pinky, following it down, and bring the left arm back up to the sky. Take the hand behind your head so your elbow is bent here, and create like a little resistance in the sense that your head is pushing back, but your hand is pushing forward, and you might actually feel a lengthening along the back of your neck here. From here, let's ground down through our right palm, so the meaty part of your right palm, and let's take it to the side. So we're really rotating, laterally moving towards the right side. And when you do that, you're opening up all this sideline of the body on the left side. So remembering not to, pull forward, and you also don't want to overly open the rib cage. Find the neutral position by pushing your hand back into your palm and lifting. So this is really a lift of the thoracic spine out of the bowl of the pelvis. Let's do the other side. Let's lift the right arm up to the sky and backstroke it. Remember, initiating the movement from the scapula, leading with the thumb, coming to the top and flipping. This is such good, nutritious movement. I feel a lot of Rice Krispies being given some attention behind and under my scapula. Feels really good. Leave the right arm up. Fingers are directed towards the sky. Let's bend our elbow and bring our right palm behind our head, so at the base of the occiput. And again, remember, you're pressing back with your head into your palm, so they're kind of pressing in opposite directions, but through that you'll feel a lengthening of your neck here. So your neck is long, your cervical spine is long. From here, fold the pelvis. Remember, don't tilt it forward. It's hard to do this because you really want to tilt it forward here. Take the meaty part of your left palm, ground it into the chair. And let's open up the right side body by leaning into that palm. You might want to bend the elbow, if that feels comfortable to you, to add a little more of a stretch down the right side body. Great work. And take it back up. Good job. From here, we're going to take our hands out into a T position, and we're going to do a little movement through the thoracic spine while we maintain a neutral pelvis. So the pelvis is going to stay stable here. So again, maybe find the rim and pull it up. Gather the pelvis together, consolidate it, extend your arms out to the side, and rotate your rib cage, you're actually going back and forth. So sending your rib cage back and forth over the pelvis. So reaching through the side body, but your pelvis is not moving. It's just reaching forward, side to side over your pelvis. See, I'm really having to think about this, and I'm having a hard time talking. It's not easy. You're engaging the whole cylinder of the core here, engaging the side body, and think about the rib cage just shifting back and forth over that stable pelvis. 2 more times. Great work. From here, let's take our arms in front of us like we're going to hug a big bear. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. And we're just going to alternate, moving our arms forward. Again, initiating the movement from the scapula. Remember, don't let that rim of the pelvis sneak forward. Pull it back as you move. So structure in the pelvis actually gives us freedom in the upper extremities, in the rib cage. And now let's reach up like you're trying to climb a mountain. So alternating, reaching up, move. You should feel the shoulder blade move as you reach up. And you can actually feel it glide up your back if you want to feel that there, just to kind of connect movement with what it feels like structurally. Great work. Let's do this 2 more times. Pulling belly to spine as you lift the side body. Great work. All right. Let's take it back to the center. From here, we're gonna work on the core a little bit, and we're gonna work on the independence of the rib cage or the thoracic spine from the pelvis. 1 more time. This is a little bit more of a complex movement, so you're really gonna have to think about this with intention, and you're gonna get a workout because it's gonna involve a lot of different things happening at once. Bringing your hands to prayer center. So from here, we're gonna rotate to the right. So through our thoracic spine, we're rotating through the right, but our left elbow is going to come over and land on our top of our right thigh. If it doesn't make it to the top of your right thigh, it is fine for it to be on the top of your left thigh. You don't want to compromise the pelvis to make the contact of the elbow with the opposite leg. You want to keep the pelvis stable. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate to the left. So your right elbow is landing on top of your left thigh as you move through the thoracic spine, maintaining a neutral pelvis. Now you're also having a hip hinge as you move. So this is a complex movement. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale, center, exhale, rotate to the left. So remember not to have the elbow go across and land on the other side of your thigh, because if you're going that far, you're actually probably really tilting and moving the pelvis, which is not what we want here. We want a rotation through the thoracic spine as we hinge at the hip. Really feel the cylinder of the core engaged, so the deep abdominal muscles are working here, the ones that transverse and cross through the pelvis, actually. Good, let's do 2 more. Inhale, center, exhale to the left. 1 more, I promise. Inhale, center, exhaling to the right. Great work. All right, from here, let's start our marching. So we're bringing our knees up, alternating our knees up. Remember, make sure you're on the edge of your chair here. Tailbone rooted down, pulling belly to spine. Maybe find those hip points. Make sure the bowl of the pelvis is not tilted. I am adding my hand for some resistance here. It's a little bit of hip flexion with resistance. So that means I'm working on strengthening my hip flexors in this movement. Remember, we usually have weak hip flexors that are tight. So those can actually coexist. And it's just from sitting. But we're working on it. We're making it better. Great job. So I'm really pushing against my leg as I lift. From here, let's bring our right knee up as we lift our left arm. So they're moving, they're opposite. Let's bring our left knee up as we move our right arm up to the sky. So feel a length in the side body of the right side here. And just alternate this. Moving with intention, like you're really in an exaggerated march. But remember, pulling the tailbone down, so rooting the tailbone down as the belly pulls the spine will help maintain a neutral pelvis as you move through this, exaggerated, really, movement. But it's functional. Great job. Let's do 2 more. And last one. Great work. Moving on. We're going to go ahead and take ourselves into a quadruped position. And so, actually, let's do 1 more thing. I want to work a little bit on the hip joint itself. So remember, the hip joint is actually below the hip point. So right here, right where the crease is, where the long bone of the femur meets the pelvis. And go ahead and bring your knee up. Wrap your hands under your hamstrings. Make sure you have a tall spine here and rotate back and forth with the knee and the foot going in opposite directions. So you're supporting the leg, but you're allowing the femur bone to internally and externally rotate in the hip joint. It looks like this. So kind of a tick-tock back and forth. Really lubricating the hip joint here, moving it through all the ways it's intended to move. We don't want to just move it in one direction because the hip joint is a ball and socket joint. It deserves to be moved in all directions. Hands under the right leg here, the right hamstring, and again, just tick-tocking the knee and the foot back and forth. They're moving in opposite directions, so we're internally and externally rotating here. Great work. Remember that tall spine, pulling belly to spine. Don't let the rim of the pelvis come forward or backward. You want it neutral. Good job. Now we're going to come up to a quadruped position. So, finding your chair, letting your hands find the seat of your chair. So come up to standing, find the hip points, activate the glutes, engage through here. Maybe put your hands on the hip points and engage your glutes, and that will give you a sense of what hip extension is. From here, take your hands on the seat of the chair. Now we're going to keep a long spine. In order to have a long spine, we have to have a bend in our knees and really sit back with our hips. So that's how you get a long spine. You need to make sure your hip joint is flexed back, so like you're sitting back in an imaginary chair as well with some bent knees here. So with that long spine, we're going to go ahead and take our left hand behind our head like we did earlier. So let the head meet the palm of the hand. Now inhale, open up to the left. So you're rotating through the thoracic spine. So we're not using our hip here. Open up, exhale, bring it back. I call this the book opening motion because it's like we're going through a book page by page. Inhale, open through the thoracic spine. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, open, exhale, return to center. Inhale, open, exhale, return to center. One more time. Great work. Bring that left hand down, and let's bring the right hand behind the head. Again, making contact, so you're almost bringing your head into your hands. You're not drooping your head down. Maintain length in the spine by bending the knee and sitting back in the hips. Inhale, rotate to the side and open the book. Exhale, back center. Inhale, rotate, exhale, center. So you're just opening the book page by page, trying to maintain a neutral pelvis. Really ground through the palm of the hand that's on the chair and help maintain stability in this motion by using the palm of the opposite hand. And exhale, back center. Great work. From here, we're gonna do a little bit of a different exercise. We're gonna do a bird dog pose. We did this last time. We're gonna extend our left leg back, engaging our left glute as we extend our right hand out and flare the fingers, palms facing in. So you have the opposite hand out as the leg. Now remember to pull the belly to spine. You don't want this motion to be from the hips. You don't want to wag your tail back here. You want to keep the pelvis stable. Exhale, bring the hand back down. This time, bring your right leg back, activating the glute here. So you don't want it way up here because way up here involves tipping of the pelvis. You just want to send it back, engaging the glute, and extend the left arm forward. Our fingers are flared, hands facing midline. And exhale, back center. Now just moving with this motion, moving with your breath. So you exhale, you extend the opposite leg and the arm, and you inhale, center. Exhale, extend out, inhale, center. Keep the pelvis stable as you move through this. Pull your belly to spine. Keep a long, happy spine. Good job. 2 more here. Pull the throat back so you don't want to dip the head. I have to remind myself. Great job. And coming back to that quadruped position where the hands are grounded. Let's come all the way up to standing. Find the hip points. Really extend the hips by bringing the hips towards your hand by activating the glutes. From here, we're going to do some sun sal lunges using the back of the chair. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my chair around. So just face the back of your chair. Your chair is going to serve as a way to balance. So you can either use it, or if you're feeling comfortable, you don't have to use it. But I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to use it throughout the practice, and I'll kind of cue you through different things. So with a neutral pelvis, creating a neutral spine by activating the glutes, pulling belly to spine. Remember, the shoulder girdle is over the hip girdle. Inhale the arms forward and up. Exhale, hands come to the back of the chair. Step the left leg back into a high lunge. From here, the front knee is bent, but go ahead and bend the back knee. And the reason we bend the back knee, find your hip points, pull them up. If you keep the legs straight, you often tilt in your pelvis. We don't want a tilted pelvis, we want a neutral pelvis, which is when the bowl is not tipping forward or backward, right? Keep that pot of gold contained. We don't want it tilting. Okay, so engage the glute of the back leg. And when you engage that glute, you feel how this hip is released here through hip extension. Great job. Option to take one arm up, option to take the other arm up, option to take both arms up. If you feel comfortable, really rooting the tailbone down, activating the glute, consolidating the core, pulling the rib cage out of the pelvis. And bring the hands to the back of your chair. Step back into a half down dog. So really hinging at the hips. So sitting back, bending the knees, lengthening through the spine. And bring that left leg back forward. So we're in a high lunge with the, on the other side really. Same leg, other side. Bend the back knee. And because, remember, bending the back knee will keep your pelvis so it's happy, it's not tilted. And from here, activate the glute of the back leg. When you activate the glute, you're going to feel that hip extension coming up on the ball of the back foot. Inhale the arm up, either arm, whatever feels more comfortable to you. And then bring it down, and then bring the other arm up. And if you want to, you can bring both arms up. Great work. And come back. And step the back foot to meet the top foot, so you're coming back to the back of your chair. We're going to do this on the other side. Step your right leg back into a high lunge. So you're up on the ball of the back foot. Bend the back knee so the rim of the pelvis is happy here, which means you have a happy spine. And send one arm up. You can send the other arm up. Option to send both arms up. Grab the back of the chair. Step back into half down dog. Really sit back, hinging at the hips. Bend in the knees, creating length in the spine. And step the the right leg forward into a high lunge. Bend the back knee, really root the tailbone down, engage the glute of the back bent leg. Pull belly to spine, bring one hand up, and maybe you bring the other hand up this time. High lunge. Feel the power in this pose. Grab the back of the chair and step forward. Great job. Moving on. Just a few more exercises. We're going to work on the hip list. What is the hip list? The hip list is really maintaining a happy hip joint by engaging the muscles around the hip, which of course includes the glute muscles. So we're all guilty of putting our hands on our hip, maybe when we're angry, or when we just have something to say, and we kind of sit into our hip. I know I did this a lot when I carried a baby. I do it a lot in the kitchen when I'm standing at, the countertop. I'll find myself with, this hip out to the side. That is not a happy hip. It's also not a neutral pelvis. So thinking about, let's bring our right hand on the back of the chair. Let's think about activating the right glute and shoop, slurping up like you're pulling a sock up the leg, feeling a puff of air in this right hip. From there, pulling belly to spine, we can move the left leg forward and back in this pendulum swing. Now this really provides a lot of information. If you're not able to clear the floor with your foot, which is difficult, this is not easy, that probably means you need to work on really slurping up on that right hip, activating all the muscles around the hip joint to extend the hip here so you can have movement on the left side. And just take it forward and to the side. So forward and to the side. Really activate the glute of the standing leg. Good job. Remember, you don't want this motion coming from the hip. So the forward and the back motion is not coming from the hip. It's coming from movement of the ball and socket joint of the hip. Not coming from the pelvis. So you're not rocking with the pelvis. Now bring the left knee in, activate the right glute. Remember, think about that puff of air. Bring it down, now out to the side. Bring it center and bring the left knee up. Take it down, out to the side. Bring it center, left knee up. Take it down, out to the side. Bring it center, a little different here. Take the left leg behind the right leg in a curtsy squat and come back to standing. Bring the left knee in, take it down, left leg out to the side, bring it center, and curtsy squat from behind. Come all the way to standing. Left knee in, bring it down, left leg out to the side, curtsy squat from behind, come all the way to standing. One more. Left knee into the chest, bring it down, left leg out to the side, curtsy squat by bringing the left leg behind the right leg, and come all the way to standing. From here, we're going to work on tree pose. So a little version of this. Really activate the right glute here, hand resting on the back of the chair. Bend the knee and externally rotate it to the side. So you're bending the left knee and taking it out. Don't force it out. Wherever it lands is where it needs to stay. I don't have a lot of external rotation in my hip, so it's not much at all. Activate the right glute, really slurp it up here, and maybe you're going to stay on the ball of this left foot, or maybe you're going to bring it to your ankle, or maybe it's going to come up to your calf. Just avoid the knee joint. Think about the diamond of the pelvis. So the two hip points, the belly button, and the base of the pelvis, the pubic symphysis. Gather it all together, consolidate it as you bring your left arm up to the sky. Activate the right glute, and maybe you bring the right arm up to the sky. Really pull and gather and consolidate the pelvis, and that allows you to have some freedom here in this pose. Great job. Let's do the other side. So I'm going to grab the back of my chair. This will be your left hand. I'm going to activate the left glute. So really think about that puff of air slurping up the left glute here, or like you're pulling a sock up. And that allows for the space and pulling belly to spine, consolidating the pelvis, keeping it neutral, and then allowing the pendulum swing here. And you can make a clearance with your foot because you have an active left glute. So remember, this motion is not from the pelvis rocking. You have a neutral pelvis. You're moving at the hip joint. Maybe even take your second and third fingers and feel the movement at the hip joint and then to the side. So forward to the side, forward to the side. So just using a neutral pelvis to allow freedom here. This is a nutritious synovial movement. Great job. Coming back to standing, bring the right knee into the chest and take it down. Now bring the right leg out to the side, activate the left glute. Remember, slurp it up, pull the diamond of the pelvis together, back center. Exhale, bring the right knee into chest and bring it back center. And bring the right leg to the side and bring back center. Right knee into chest and down. Right leg to the side, back center. We're going to add on to this. Right knee, bring it up and down. Right leg to the side, bring back center. Now this time, curtsy squat the right leg behind the left leg, bend in both knees, and come back center. Come all the way to standing. Remember, activate that left glute. Bring the knee up and down. Bring the leg to the side. This is hip abduction, back center. Cross the right leg behind the left leg in a curtsy squat, bending both knees, maintaining a neutral pelvis, pulling it together here. This is actually internal rotation. Bring back center one more time. Right knee into chest and down. Right leg to the side, hip abduction, back center. Curtsy squat the right leg behind the left leg. Pull the diamond of the pelvis together as you bend both knees and come back to standing. Great work. Last thing, tree on the other side. Activate the left glute. Find the back of your chair. Grab onto it for balance. Pull the diamond of the pelvis together. Remember, it's the epicenter of the body. Bend the right knee, externally rotate or send the leg out. Wherever it falls is where you need to be. Don't force it out. Maybe you come up on the ball of your right foot. Maybe that foot finds the ankle. Maybe that foot finds the calf. Really root the tailbone down. Pull belly to spine. Lift the rib cage out of the pelvis. Feel the length in this pose as you consolidate. Bring the right arm up to the sky. Feel how powerful this pose can be. Activate the left glute. Maybe you're able to bring the left arm up to the sky as you pull and draw through center. Great work. And bring the hands back down and the legs back down. Y'all have done great work today. So neutral pelvis is so important. It really establishes movement and really optimizes movement. If your hips are happy, your pelvis is happy, your spine is happy. And let's just take one deep inhale in together. In through the nose, fill up. Exhale out through the mouth. Bring the hands to prayer center at the heart. And I have one quote to leave with you for the day. I think it's relevant to what we worked on today. Let's see here. So I wanted to share this with you. The boundary to what we can accept is the boundary of our freedom. So really, we're trying to think about remaining in the present and just accepting where we are and how we are right now at this present moment. And because of we're able to accept where we are, we have freedom in that. And I thought that resonated with this class in a way, because if you think about maintaining a neutral pelvis and optimizing posture and alignment and really just giving yourself and your body the movement that it deserves throughout the day. I mean, just taking this moment for yourself it's such a beautiful thing for you to do for yourself. And with that, you then have freedom. So a neutral, happy pelvis is a happy spine, which really gives you so much freedom in your movement to feel good in your body. Because that's what it's all about. So thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for practicing your radiant movement and sharing it with me. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And have a great day. Thank you.